Appleseed is a 2004 post-apocalyptic anime film that has been directed by Shinji Aramaki. It is also based on the manga that has been created by Masamune Shiro. Dunin Newt, a young soldier and one of the global war's last survivors, is rescued by Hitomi, a second-generation bioroid. Newt's escape attempt is stopped by her former lover Biarios, now a cyborg. She realizes that the war has ended and she is in a utopian city called Olympus. Its population is half human, half clone, and genetically engineered species called bioroids. Olympus is governed by three factions. Everything in the city is observed by the artificial intelligence named Gaia from a building called Tartarus. While there, Dunin joins the counterterrorism organization Eastwatch to find answers. I was 14 years old when I first seen this anime. And when I first seen it, I had no idea that it was based on the manga and it was based on the 1988 anime film that I just reviewed recently. And honestly, the reason I'm saying this is because when I first watched this film when I was 14 years old, I completely understood it. There was not one thing about the film that has made me be confused about what was going on with the characters and the whole plot angle of it, but it did want me more. So after this was done, we also have more films and some series to the anime to show you what more can they bring to the table. I'm saying this because me watching it now and me seeing it and me having a fresh brain function of how the anime really is, I found out that there was some great things that they have improved from the 1988 version and some things that there was lacking. Now let's first start by the anime itself. Now I do notice that they have kind of did what Sakura Wars has done. Well, I would have to say that Appleseed has done it first, and that is the whole 3D aspects when it comes to adding some 3D elements to the anime, when it comes to the mechs, and when it comes to the anime characters. Now with Sakura Wars, they kind of did a mixture. They kind of wanted to put anime characters into the 3D trope like Van Dread, but just like reboots, Appleseed wanted to make this whole thing a 3D anime adaptation. Now I had no problem with it. I thought it was good. There was some things on it that was a little glitchy. Like there was some times where their clothes would be a little tucked together, and you could just see you could just see the pixelation is not acting properly. So I would recommend you guys to watch the Blu-ray version of the Appleseed. I saw the DVD version because I first thought to myself, what's the point of me buying the Blu-ray version if I already got the DVD version? What more can they improve? But I've noticed that they have changed the voice actress of the Appleseed film, which I did not know why. I didn't think she stood out for me. Only thing that stood out for me was the graphics. But honestly, not to the point where I would numb down the anime score. I just think it should be mentioned. I was still pulled in by the action, and there's a ton of it. There's so much action in this anime. In fact, even when it begins, as soon as the anime begins, Dunin Newt, she's already in the line of fire, and at the same time, she is just showing so much good action, so much slow pacing action, fast paced action, gunplay, you name it. People get killed, people get their head crushed, people get people get pummeled on the floor. They show all this in the beginning, just to let you know what to expect when you watch the rest of the movie. So I would have to say that the 3D add-on to this film was necessary. Needed to be a little tweaked in and there, but at the same time it was acceptable for what it was giving us. Speaking of the action, I have to talk about the anime music. I love the music. Now, when it comes to the 1988 version music, I loved it. It fit the tone of what it was replicating of it being in the 1980s, and with the futuristic style of the techno and the dark cyberpunk action sound to it. But with this one, I noticed that they focus more on the techno hard style music and stuff. Now, y'all know I have a weak heart for hard style and techno music, and it fitted perfectly. I thought it was nice. Since this is a prequel, that I might add, I'm gonna have to say the dialogue is very good. I believe Dunin Newt's character, and I believe Viario's character, even though I was missing the old Viario's kind-hearted person that liked to crack jokes, like to drink pop and soda and all those type of drinks through his through his mechanical helmet and stuff. We don't really got that here, honestly. Briario's, I'm gonna have to say, like an asshole to Dunanude, but he has a reason for it, honestly, and it's explained. So I had no problem for why he was acting the way he was, as long as it was explained in a way that was acceptable, and they done that. Now, as for Dunan, I loved her character. Now, on the 1988 version, I didn't have a problem with Dunanude's character. She was a hard woman, but at the same time, I noticed that she is in love with Briarios. They're both lovers. So they don't want to make her like a solid female that's a hard person from start to finish. And then when people try to fall in love with her, she likes to push them away. No. Dunanude, she knows that there's a time and place for that. When she's in the battlefield, she acts hardcore. When there's a time for her to be emotional and for her to pull her weight out, she does this. She doesn't hold her emotions at all. I'm saying that because they show a lot of these scenes where she talks about love with Hitomi, and I think that they have done Hitomi well on this anime. I think that Hitomi on the 1988 version, they did her justice, just enough for us to get pulled in by her character, but not enough for us to know exactly who she really is. But on this one, you like her a lot. I thought she was good. I thought she was a well-warranted character. She talks about how much she like kind of envies being a human, to feel emotion, to feel love, and she talks to Dunan about this, and Dunan tells her that, you know, falling in love is not really as easy as it seems, but Hitomi still envies her for that, because even if it's tough, she still wonders how it feels to actually fall in love with a person, and even if it means like having kids. Because I did notice that they were saying that they can't have sex, they can't reproduce, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. So I thought the dialogue was good. I thought the dialogue pulled me in a lot, especially when it came to us being aware of certain things that we supposed to be shocked to. Especially with Dunan, when she first noticed that Briarios was cybernetically enhanced, she was shocked to see him this way, and so was I. And that was weird, because I was like, wait a minute, you did not know this? But at the same time, they explained this, and I was bought into it. This anime lives up to the hype. This anime lives up to what it stands for from the 1988 version. I love the 1988 version a lot. I had no problem with the 1988 version. I gave it the highest score possible, and I recommend people to watch that anime. Now, I like this anime too. I thought this anime was great, but does it mean that it's at that same level as the 1988 version? No. I don't understand why, when the beginning of stuff like this, movies, animes, they start strong, but at the same time, when you make a prequel or a sequel, you have to bring your A game, but it's always lacking something. Well, I'm gonna have to say this. The anime lacks a couple things. One is the main enemy, Hades. Now, here's the thing. I can't really say he's the main enemy, but the premise of the anime is just showing you certain things and certain aspects of how humans feel about bioroids, and bioroids feel about humans. And Hades, and amongst a lot of other people, they hate bioroids. They can't stand bioroids. They feel like bioroids are the sanctity of the devil. So I see what they did. On the original version, we had bioroids that hated humans. And on this version, we got humans that hate bioroids. It's a cheap way for people to get pulled in, but at the same time, I thought it was okay. It was lacking the threat level, because right after Dunanude began to figure out what was going on, we didn't really have no main bosses. We didn't really have no big epic fight scene. All that happened was that the enemies that was in charge just flicked the switch, and all the bioroids just went crazy. That was it. And I felt like that was cheap. I felt like that could have been done better, and at the same time, I felt like the threat level was not as as compelling and as huge as the original. Because as the original, I really felt like they could have gotten killed off. I really felt like the stakes was high. On this one, it lacked those. And then to top this off, then we also got people on here that do things that doesn't make any sense, like Dunanude, a hardcore survivor, a person that likes to be careful, and at the same time, when it comes to her fighting people in a brink of battle, it's always them dying before her, because she is always 3 steps ahead. I'm saying that because by her knowing this, and by us knowing this, from the stuff that we witnessed, she did something that was very stupid. Like, for example, you know that you have the advantage to take down the enemies or just hide in one spot. So why did you come out of the hiding zone and then start running away just so enemies can just knock you out? I didn't get that part. And then we also got Hitomi. Now Hitomi was supposed to have a maintenance check and it was due for 3 days ago. But instead she just ignored it, and then all of a sudden she was discovered unconscious and they took her in. All this was just a build plot. But I felt like they could have done better. It was unexplainable and it was a dumb move for both of the characters that's supposed to play smart, iconic roles. At the end of the day, out of all those mentioned, I still believe that this anime still holds up to the prequel that has been given to us. It's not as bad as the original, but honestly, that's, I guess you call it sequelitis maybe, where the original is always good, but when the prequel and when the sequel happens, you're supposed to bring your A game. I suppose. I mean, I guess you're supposed to, but at the same time, this is not really a shocker in my opinion. But I should not be surprised, but I am surprised because this keeps happening over and over and over again. But I was really hoping something big here. But you know, as me watching it when I was 14 years old and watching it now, I guess I feel the same way as I did before. I'm gonna have to give Appleseed 2004, the animated film, a B-. The anime is not bad. I know it feels like I'm really dogging the anime down. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad film, but when it comes to the original, it's a little bit disappointing when it comes to the stuff that was given to us. Now, I can say here that since this is a prequel, maybe Dunin is not as sharp as she was in the original. That's probably the reason why people may have given it more of a bigger praise than the 1988 version, because this version actually got bigger scores than the original. That could be the reason. That could be the reason, honestly. But at the same time, I just feel like by the stuff that was given to us, it could have been more explained. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more upcoming anime reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.